Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching the Islamabad talks from Islamabad here at the Convention Center for Voicepkdotnet. I'm Munizae Jahangir, and just behind me you can see the buzz around. The media, the world media is here. All eyes are on Islamabad, hoping for some kind of lasting peace from these very important talks. I have with me a senior analyst, a journalist, Nasim Zehra, somebody that you all know, you all watch on your TV screens, and you also read her columns in the newspapers. Now, this is a very important moment for Pakistan. We have arrived here, and let me just play the devil's advocate. From when Osama bin Laden was found in Pakistan to now, it's been a long journey where we have the US Vice President landing here, we have the Iranians landing here. How did we manage to kind of, gain their trust and their confidence and become the mediator that we have?
Well, I think, first of all, thank you, Munizae, and I'll tell you where we are right now in this big hall of the convention center. I think it seems like a lot of fun, and as you said, it's a great moment for Pakistan, and let's give credit to our media managers right now, the government and the others. And why am I saying let's give them credit? Because where the real things are happening, where there's real news being made, they've kept us away from all of that, and they've happily put us in this environment where I think we're all enjoying ourselves.
But it also leads to misinformation. But
no, yeah, but when the talks are on a matter that is so sensitive and every word matters, then I think you have to keep it behind closed doors. I'm sure we'll know the outcome. So if we get into the process, it could be disruptive. That's my old traditional way of looking at it.
But you have been following this process for a long time. You've been reporting on this process. You've been very close to the policymakers. How did we manage to gain the confidence of both the United States and Iran? It must have been a very difficult task. How come Oman was eliminated, Qatar was eliminated as a place where they could have these talks?
So, I mean, just in terms of OBL, you know that if you want to just refer to that very briefly, OBL was an outcome of an international undertaking where United States led and Pakistan was a partner, and so were all the other countries, the EU, European countries. So I think we've all been in different phases of global history, regional history, our own history, and then you move on.
Right.
In terms of where we are today and how are we here today, I think one thing that must be recognized about Pakistan, and it's in Pakistan's DNA. What do I mean by that? So Pakistan has excelled in diplomacy, has excelled in, managing global events, whether it is at the United Nations Security Council, whether it's in the region with Iran-Iraq war.
But very recently, there has been a big shift.
Well, the big shift came, thank you, Mr. Modi. You waged a war and you attacked us and you gave Pakistan an opportunity to demonstrate to the world that when it comes to the security, when it comes to Pakistan's integrity, we mean business, and we mean business within a kind of framework which is legal, which is international, and you know that ever since India had to run to the United States, ask for ceasefire, and Pakistan was approached as well. I think May 2025 was a turning point, but turning points
or a departure.
No turning point, but I think turning points don't result in this kind of an event where we are, this kind of moment automatically. There's got to be some reservoir of competence, of approach, of an outlook. So Pakistan hasn't, because we won the war or we did well, it's not suddenly happened. Pakistani diplomacy, I think we must spend a moment on that, starting from Jinnah, 4 months into Pakistan's creation. The founder of this country is writing a letter to the Americans and saying, what is this? This is very illegal, it's unfortunate. 4-month-old Pakistan. So he sets the tone of how this country is going to engage globally. and after that, you look at the Maghreb, the nationalist movements in Morocco, in Algeria, and so on. You know that the Algerian movement, NLF, they were traveling on Pakistani passports. You know, Sir Zafarullah Khan, our giant foreign minister, iconic figure, he would stand in the UN Security Council and talk about the rights of the Maghreb. And then, on and on, we've committed blunders like all nations do. But I think the last 1 year has demonstrated to the world that Pakistan, look, our architecture of relationship with China is what it is and is.
Has China been behind Pakistan's move to forge a kind of a mediating role, a facilitator role between the US and Iran?
Well, I think that Pakistan initiated this because Pakistan, there is no other country in the world.
At the behest of China or
no,
on its
there's
own?
no behest.
Okay.
There is no behest here.
Right.
Here is Pakistan, a closest ally of Iran, a closest friend of Iran in this context. To the extent that the Iranian president is singing "Thank you, Pakistan" in his parliament. Is that a fact or not?
Right.
So they recognize that Pakistan really, when it comes to integrity, sovereignty, we've had issues with Iran.
But now where do we
China,
go from here?
But on China, I think that Pakistan initiated this, and the Chinese, on their own, they were very close to Iran, and they were looking at global politics in the Asian continent, and they did not want this war to go beyond, they wanted it stopped. And Pakistan initiative was already, that Pakistan set the ball rolling about a month ago.
Right.
And Chinese were engaging with, it's not behest. I don't agree with this behest. They stood with Pakistan, they acknowledged Pakistan's diplomatic leadership role, and therefore when Mr. Isagdar went to China with the 5 points were jointly set up, and in fact both the countries then invited others to
But now where do we go from here? I think that is the big question that everybody is asking. Where do we go from here? The preconditions that Iran has set, and let me tell you that the Iranian delegation has already met the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. The American delegation is very much here. We are expecting something post 5 p.m. The talks right now are taking place as we speak. What is expected to come out of the talks? One of the prerequisites is that Israel stop bombing Lebanon, and secondly that all the assets that have been frozen by the United States should be released, and those were the preconditions of the talks. Have they been reached? Because the talks are now happening.
I mean, I would just frame it differently. I don't think it was a question of only one country setting preconditions. I think Pakistan was talking with both on behalf of both the sides, and then finally I think we got to a point where there was an understanding that both there will be give and take. I think there was an understanding, and from what I know, there was a list that was drawn up, the issues ranging from lifting of sanctions to Strait of Hormuz, to enriched uranium, to paying reparations to Iran, to unfreezing its assets. So I think that journey began before the talks have begun. So when the talks having begun now, I'm sure, I would be very surprised. I'm sure that something is going to come out of this. But as you said,
what is likely to come out of it?
Munizae, the key spoiler, we need to spend half a minute on that. Israel, key spoiler, it went into Lebanon and did what it did on the night of the cessation of hostilities. It actually went and attacked Iran's oil Kharg island, and Iran was going to respond. And we must say that MBS, the Saudi Crown Prince, has been extremely wise in the way that he's handled. And also we must also let your viewers know that the Quad has been there: Pakistan, Egypt, Turkey and Saudi Arabia.
And the delegations are here, witnessing this historic event today. So we are expecting some kind of lifting of sanctions on Iran at the end of these talks?
I think we are expecting both sides to get something out of the talks. If the ceasefire has to go beyond 14 days, so some kind of architecture has to be constructed. I think the best we can expect out of these talks is that by the end of the talks, some give and take, and the process of negotiations will continue.
All right, so there will be some give and take, some process of negotiations will continue. It seems to me that it may continue in Pakistan, because that's where the
well,
talks took place.
and also, by the way, I think we need to clarify for your audience. You were saying, Oman was cut out and Turkey, etc. I don't think it was a question of cutting out. I think that the two countries decided on Pakistan. Pakistan, in the last round as well, when the war, in 2025, Pakistan presented itself as a venue, and then it was decided to have the talks in Oman, and Pakistan was very happy. So I think Pakistan's approach, Munizae, has been throughout this: there has to be de-escalation, this war must end, and Pakistan will put its best foot forward for that.
And of course, there's a lot at stake for Pakistan. We share a 1,000-kilometer border with Iran. If there was going to be a full-fledged attack again on Iran, it would have had repercussions in neighboring Balochistan and the rest of Pakistan. Inflation, of course, is going to be very high. So the whole world has its stake on these talks. And as I can tell you now that the talks are underway, this is what we are hearing. It's underway and we cannot disclose the location, but we have a good sense of where the talks are taking place, and they are going to be bilateral face-to-face talks between the Iranians and the Americans. From what we are hearing, that the Pakistanis are going to be part of those very important talks. There are other delegations that have come to Pakistan to witness this historic event, Saudis being one of them, and the world media is right here. The world media is here watching these important conversations take place, and there is a hope. There is hope not just for peace, but also for Iran to move forward. So it's Munizae Jahangir reporting from the Convention Center in Islamabad, Voicepkdotnet.
आपकी खबर आपकी आवाज़ voicepk.net